What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks on my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see we actually got 23 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We actually got 0 picks wrong and got 23 right, which is a 100% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right. We went perfect with a 100% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 100% win rate and get 23 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $500 just yesterday, and another member who won $500 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Wnba who commented 6-7. So unfortunately, we don't have a 6-7 edit for today's video, but shouts out to him. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. All right, so let's get straight into the first pick. When it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is none other than Napheesa Collier, and this one is for 18.5 points. And this one actually is for less. Now looking at Napheesa Collier, we actually have seen her go on the under in 1 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, we see on July 23rd, face off against Chicago Sky, had 19 points there. Then July 26th, faced off against the Las Vegas Aces, had 25 points. Then 28 points against Atlanta and had 32 points there, on July 28th. On top of that, against New York Liberty, had 30 points on July 31st, and the Las Vegas Aces had 18 points on August 3rd. So we have seen, Napheesa Collier only go on the under 1 out of the last 5, and her average over the last 5 is actually 24.8. Now, as you all know, when it comes to Napheesa Collier in Minnesota, we do know that they face off against none other than Indiana Fever. Now, looking at this matchup and looking at where both of these teams do lie, obviously starting off with actually, Minnesota, we do know Minnesota do have the #1 record in the WNBA. So they are the best team in the WNBA. They have a record of 29 wins and 7 losses. That's an 80.6% win percentage there. They're also 17-1 at home, 12-6 from away, and also have a 1-game win streak. On top of that, Napheesa Collier and Minnesota face off against Indiana, as we've mentioned, and Indiana Fever do come in at the 6th spot in the WNBA, but also have a record that puts them in the 3rd spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 19 wins and 17 losses. That's a 52.8% win percentage. On top of that, they are 10-9 from home, 9-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So when we look at both of these teams, obviously Minnesota Lynx do rank a little bit better, and we are looking at points here. Looking at Indiana Fever points wise, we have seen Fever actually drop quite a bit, because they do actually rank 9th when it comes to points allowed. So they have fallen quite a bit there. But coming into this matchup, we do very much still like the under for this situation. And that's due to the fact that when we look at Indiana Fever, Fever actually do a fantastic job at restricting, points to the forward position. And we definitely see that happening here. And Napheesa Collier over the last 5 games has definitely had some big games, do not get me wrong. But she's also faced off against much easier teams when it comes to them allowing a lot of points to, teams in general, but also allowing a lot of points to Napheesa Collier's position. And she has been able to take advantage of it. Obviously, looking at the last 5, teams like Liberty, Aces, Sky, and Aces again with the most recent one where she did still go on the under. We have seen her face off against much easier teams time and time again, but coming into this matchup, as we always mention, matchups, that's what's most important. And with a matchup like this where Fever do a fantastic job against the forward position, we should see a little bit of a different outcome there. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. So definitely keep an eye out for Napheesa Collier coming into this game. So Napheesa Collier, 18.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about another great player, and that is none other than Nneka Ogwumike. So as you all know, Nneka, great player for none other than, Seattle Storm. And this one is for also 18.5 points, and this one also is for less. So this was an interesting one, obviously almost the exact same line, and on top of that, just different player there, but we have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Looking at those 5 games, we see on August 14th, faced off against Atlanta, had 29 points there. Then August 16th, faced off against Atlanta, had 16 points. Then August 18th, faced off against Phoenix, had 24 points. August 20th, faced off against Chicago, had 21 points. And then August 23rd, faced off against Dallas and had 4 points there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at Nneka, we have actually seen her go on the under, as I mentioned, in 2 out of the last 5. But on top of that, her average over the last 5 is also 18.8. So slightly just above this line. Now, coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting one, but looking at Seattle Storm, we do know that they face off against none other than Washington Mystics. So it is going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. Looking at where both of these teams do rank, obviously looking at Nneka and also the matchup against Washington, looking at where both of these teams do rank, starting off with Seattle Storm. Seattle Storm do actually come in at the 7th spot in the actual WNBA. Not only that, but they also have a record of 19 wins and 18 losses. That's a 51.4% win percentage there. They're also 8-10 from home, 11-8 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So, Seattle Storm have definitely, got some wins under their belt, but they are looking to try to continue on greatly. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about none other than their matchup, which is Washington Mystics, where Mystics are on the other side of the conference, and they actually rank 10th when it comes to the WNBA. So they have a record of 16 wins and 21 losses. That's a 43.2%, win percentage there. Now, on top of that, we also do see that they have a record of 10-9 at home, 6-12 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. So it is, pretty interesting to see a bit of the dynamic between both of these teams. Storm want to keep their streak alive, while Mystics are hoping to end their streak and finally start a winning streak there. But looking at Washington Mystics, when we look at them defensively, we do know Mystics do come in at the actual 6th spot when it comes to points allowed. So they don't really rank too well, pretty mid-tier there, but the reason why we do like the under for this situation here is that when we look on a per position basis, we do see a little bit of a different story there. Now, for someone like Nneka, we actually do very much like the under for this situation, as Washington Mystics have shown time and time again that they do a great job against the forward position. Now, Nneka has definitely played some pretty, big matchups and has been able to score pretty well, but we did see her usage rate definitely fall in the most recent game where she only had 4 points. Unfortunately, we are expecting that to continue on into this next game, and she did have a little bit of an outlier game against Atlanta on August 14th, and now we do believe it's brought this line a little bit too high, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the under for someone like Nneka coming into this matchup. Now, looking at this matchup even further, we also do know that when we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also are favored for the under as well, so that works out in our favor there. So Nneka Ogwumike, 18.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're actually going to be talking about another great player, and that is none other than Veronica Burton. So Veronica Burton, great player. This one is actually for points as well, for 10.5 points. However, this one actually is for more. Now, when we actually look at Veronica Burton, we have seen her go on the over in 5 out of the last 5 games, which is fantastic to see. Now, when we also look at this matchup, we do know, looking at her last 5, August 14th, faced off against Washington Mystics, actually had 30 points there. August 16th, faced off against Chicago Sky, had 11 points. Then August 18th, faced off against Atlanta, had 16 points. Then August 20th, faced off against Phoenix, had 24 points, and then 11 points against Phoenix on August 23rd. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at where Veronica Burton has done over the last 5 games, it's definitely evident that she has been playing fantastic. you know, when we look at those 5 games, we also do know that she has been able to clearly beat those lines, and it does put her average over the last 5 at 18.4. So significantly on the over there. Now, looking at this, we do also see when it actually comes into it. So obviously we do know Golden State Valkyries face off against Dallas Wings. And looking at where both these teams do rank, starting off with Golden State Valkyries. Valkyries do come in at the 8th spot in the WNBA. Now they have fallen quite a little bit, but they do come in at the 8th spot. They have a record of 18 wins, 18 losses. That's a 50% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 10-7 from home, 8-11 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Now they face off against Dallas Wings, where unfortunately Dallas Wings aren't doing any better, because Dallas Wings do actually come in at the actual 13th spot in the WNBA. So they actually have the last team in the whole of the WNBA. So they actually rank 13 out of all 13 teams. Now, they have definitely fallen quite a little bit. Connecticut Sun was actually in that position before, but Wings have finally taken it. Now, they have a record of 9 wins and 28 losses. That's a 24.3% win percentage. They are 5-14 from home, 4-14 from away, and are currently on a 4-game losing streak as well. So it's definitely been a little bit tough for them there. Now coming into this matchup, we do also see that when it comes to, you know, someone like Veronica Burton, we have definitely seen her do a fantastic job for this team. Also, we do know, looking at Dallas Wings, that Dallas Wings do actually rank 12th when it comes to points allowed. So for that reason, we do very, very much like the over for this situation here, due to the fact that Dallas Wings is just a very, very poor team. And Veronica Burton has been on some kind of streak as of lately, as her usage rate has remained very well when it comes to points. So we definitely see her being able to beat this line pretty easily, especially, you know, no offense to Dallas Wings, but especially against a poor defensive team like them. So we should definitely see someone like Veronica Burton be able to go on the over in a situation like this. Now, Dallas Wings and Valkyries both like to really push the ball. And because of that, we definitely are expecting in this situation for someone like Veronica Burton to be able to go on the over, as both teams are pretty fast-paced, and faster-paced games leads to more volume, and more volume means more opportunity for Veronica to score. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for this one. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the over as well. So Veronica Burton, 10.5 points, 4 more, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Kiki Iriafen. Now, as you all know, Kiki is a great player for none other than Washington Mystics, and she has done a fantastic job so far this season. Now, she's actually averaged 13 points, 8.8 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and also 0.6 steals. So we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Kiki and the Washington Mystics, we do know that they have themselves a very, very good matchup against none other than actually Seattle Storm. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams, but looking at where both these teams do rank, obviously, you know, starting off with Washington Mystics, we have seen Mystics do a pretty decent job, but Mystics do come in at the 10th spot in the WNBA. Unfortunately, they have slowed down quite a little bit, but we do see them come in at the 10th spot, but also do come in at the 4th spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, they have a record of 16 wins and 21 losses. That's a 43.2% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 10-9 from home, 6-12 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. So it has been a little bit, you know, interesting for us there, because we have seen Mystics fall a little bit. And it's definitely due to their last 10 games. They haven't really been doing so well, but they can definitely turn that around. Now, they do face off against Storm, and Seattle Storm are actually in the other conference, and Seattle Storm do come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA. Now, not only do they come in at the 7th spot in the WNBA, but on top of that, they are also 4th as well in their conference. So 4th in the Western Conference there. They have a record of 19 wins and 18 losses. That's a 51.4% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 8-10 from home, 11-8 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So it's definitely been interesting to see there when it comes to both of these teams and where they do rank. Now, obviously, looking at Seattle Storm defensively, that's where we definitely do like to see it. But we do know Seattle Storm do come in at the 4th spot when it comes to points allowed, 5th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. Seattle Storm do rank a little bit worse as they actually rank 12th. So they actually rank very well in points and assists and a little bit worse in rebounds. And that's why coming into this matchup, we do actually like the under for this situation here for someone like Kiki, but strictly just for points and assists. And a big reason being is obviously due to the fact that Seattle Storm do rank a little bit better in both of those categories compared to rebounds. But on top of that, another big reason for us is that when we actually look at Washington Mystics Kiki does play the forward position, and what we have seen time and time again is that when it comes to actually, Seattle Storm, they actually do a fantastic job at restricting points and assists to the actual, forward position. So we definitely see that playing a huge part here. Now, coming into this matchup, obviously we do know when it comes to Kiki, we have definitely seen her do a great job over the last 5 games. Now, she has had a little bit of a hot hand because we did see on the 16th, faced off against Indiana Fever, had an 88-84 win in that matchup with 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 1 assist there. Then on the 18th, faced off against LA Sparks, had a 95-86 win with 18 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists there. Then on the 20th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had a 69 loss with 9 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists. Then on the 22nd, faced off against Connecticut again, off a back-to-back, had a 67-56 loss with 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 1 assist. And then on the 24th, faced off against Las Vegas Aces, had a 91-81 loss with 21 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 assists there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at Kiki over the last 5 games, we definitely have seen her put up some pretty big numbers, but she has faced off against much easier teams over the last 5 games, and that's why we have definitely seen her do a great job there. But coming into this next one, we should see a little bit of a different story. So for that reason, we do very much like, the actual, under for this situation here. But like I mentioned, strictly take a more closer look at points and assists more than anything else. So for that reason, keep an eye out for her line. I see a lot of value there to go on the under, especially if the line is too close to her averages. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Iliana Rupert. So Iliana, great player from none other than the Valkyries, and she's done a fantastic job so far this season, as she's actually averaged 8.4 points, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.3 assists. So we have seen her do a fantastic job there. When we look at the Valkyries, they do have themselves a very good matchup against Dallas Wings. Now, as you all know, when we actually look at Dallas Wings, we do know, obviously both of these teams ranking-wise, starting off with Valkyries, we do know Valkyries do rank 8th when it comes to, their overall ranking. Now, they have fallen as well quite a little bit when it comes to their ranking. They were in a bit of a better position earlier, but we did see also them have the 5th spot in the Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 18 wins and 18 losses. That's a 50% win percentage there. They are 10-7 from home, 8-11 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. Now, they do face off against Dallas Wings, where Dallas Wings do actually have the 13th spot in the WNBA, which actually puts them at last place. And on top of that, they also have, obviously, the last place when it comes to the Western Conference as well. So it is pretty interesting to see there. Obviously, looking at, both of these teams, looking at Dallas Wings, you'd see a little bit of a difference because Dallas have 9 wins and 28 losses. That's a 24.3% win percentage. And on top of that, they are 5-14 from home, 4-14 from away, and are currently on a 4-game losing streak. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Iliana Rupert, we have definitely seen her do a fantastic job for this team. But coming into this matchup, obviously, Valkyries are ranked the better team in this matchup. And looking at where Dallas Wings do rank, we do know Dallas Wings do rank 12th when it comes to points allowed, 13th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 8th. So Dallas Wings do rank very poor when it comes to restricting points, rebounds, and assists. And that's why coming into this matchup, we do very much like the over for this situation here. Now, a big reason for that is when we do look at someone like Iliana, we have definitely seen her do, a fantastic job in all three categories for sure. Yeah, she does have a little bit of a lower usage rate in the assist department. So that's why I think, as always, keep an eye out for the actual prize picks lines and what they actually have. And from that, you'll be able to really see where, her line kind of stands with it, because obviously prize picks only like to give kind of sort of, I would say, lines out when they have a bit of a higher usage rate. But overall, if there is a lineup for assists, we definitely see a lot of value on the over there for someone like Iliana. Whether it's points, rebounds, and assists, we do like the over for it. Now, looking at the last 5 games, we do see on the 12th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, had a 74-57 win with 10 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist there. After that, faced off against Washington Mystics on the 14th, had an 88-83 win with 3 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists there. After that, on the 16th, faced off against Chicago Sky, had a 90-59 win with 14 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Then on the 18th, faced off against Atlanta, had a 79-63 loss with 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 0 assists there. After that, faced off against Phoenix Mercury with an 81-72 loss on the 23rd and had 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists there. So pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at, someone like Iliana, we definitely have seen her do a fantastic job when it actually comes to, scoring, rebounding, and playmaking. And that's why coming into this next matchup, we should definitely see, someone like Iliana Rupert be able to take advantage of a team like, Golden State, like Dallas Wings, that do a very poor job, defensively. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the over for this one. So keep an eye out for Iliana Rupert's line. As I always mentioned, keep an eye out for the line. If the line is under her averages, then definitely look to go on the over. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Shay Peddy. So Shay Peddy, great player, as we all know, from none other than actually Indiana Fever. Now, she's done a fantastic job so far this season, because we've actually seen her average, 5.7 points, 2.6 rebounds, 2.9 assists, and 0.3 steals. Obviously, Shay Peddy has definitely seen an increase due to the fact that Indiana Fever have had quite a few injuries so far this season. And, someone like Shay has definitely seen an influx in her usage rate there. But coming into this matchup, we do know they actually face off against a big team, and that is none other than actually, Minnesota Lynx. And to show you just how interesting this matchup will be and how intense it will be, starting off with Fever, we know Fever have the 6th spot in the WNBA. They rank very well, 6th spot in the WNBA, but also 3rd in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 19 wins and 17 losses. That's a 52.8% win percentage. On top of that, they are 10-9 from home, 9-8 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So pretty interesting to see there. As I mentioned, they do face off against Minnesota Lynx, and Minnesota Lynx do actually have the #1 spot in the WNBA. So Minnesota Lynx are a very good team. On top of that, they also have the #1 spot, obviously, in the Western Conference. They have a record of 29 wins and 7 losses. That's an 80.6% win percentage. They're also 17-1 at home, 12-6 from away, and are currently on a 1-game win streak. So it is pretty interesting to see, obviously, looking at someone, like Shay Peddy coming into this matchup. It's definitely going to be an intense one. Now, obviously, as we mentioned before, Minnesota Lynx are a top team, and it definitely translates as well on defense, because Minnesota Lynx do rank first when it comes to points allowed, first when it comes to assists allowed, and then when it comes to rebounds allowed, we actually do see Minnesota Lynx rank 5th. So for that reason, coming into this game, we do very much like this situation, as we do like the, under for someone like Shay Peddy. Now, although we did mention when it comes to, Shay Peddy and obviously Indiana Fever, we did mention there is a lot of injuries for them, and Shay Peddy has seen an increase in her actual usage rate there. But coming into this matchup, especially against a team like Minnesota Lynx, we still do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, looking at Shay Peddy over the last 5 games, obviously she was definitely acquired due to the fact that Indiana Fever have had a couple of, injuries in the past. But, you know, looking at those last 5 games, obviously we do know she did play for actually LA before that. And we actually did see her with Minnesota Lynx or against Minnesota Lynx have an 82-66 loss. But this was obviously with LA. Had 6 points, 1 rebound, and also 1 assist there. Then on the 25th, faced off against Chicago again, had a 97-86 loss with 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. After that, faced off on the 27th against Indiana Fever, which is now her team, had an 85-75 win with 5 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists there. Then on the 30th, faced off against Chicago, had a 92-85 loss with 3 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist there. After that, then got acquired by Indiana and actually played their next most recent game against Minnesota Lynx with a 95-90 loss. And she had 10 points, 0 rebounds, and 4 assists. So she actually didn't do too bad. She actually did go over on some of her lines. However, obviously, that was her first game with Indiana Fever, and that's obviously Minnesota's first game against them. But we are expecting in this next matchup to there be a little bit of a different sort of scenario and a different sort of defensive strategy coming into this next matchup. So we could definitely see someone like Shay Peddy go on the under for this situation here. So keep an eye out for her line. I see a lot of value there to go on the under, especially if the line is too close or too close to our averages there. So getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about none other than Gabby Williams. So Gabby Williams, great player for none other than Seattle Storm. And she's done a fantastic job averaging 12.2 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and also 2.3 steals. So she's definitely done a fantastic job for Seattle Storm. And as we do know, we are revisiting a game we just recently touched on. And that was obviously Seattle Storm versus Washington Mystics. Now, we do know where they rank, but just to remind you all again, Seattle Storm do rank 7th in the WNBA, also rank 4th in the Western Conference as well. But on top of that, also have a record of 19 wins, 18 losses. That's a 51.4% win percentage. But on top of that, over the last 10 games, they actually have a record of 3-7. So it's definitely been a little bit tough there. Now, looking at a team that they face off against, which is the Mystics. Mystics do come in at the 10th spot in the WNBA. Now, they actually have a record of 16 wins and 21 losses. That's a 43.2% win percentage there. They're also 10-9 from home, 6-12 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. Now, when we look at this matchup, obviously Mystics also do rank 4th in the Eastern Conference. And looking at both of these teams, both of them are a little bit in, I would say, the lower side of, or middle, I would say, middle to lower side when it comes to their conferences. But looking at Washington Mystics now defensively, we do see Mystics do rank 6th when it comes to points allowed. Also 6th when it comes to assists allowed. And then when it comes to rebounds allowed, they do rank 2nd. So for that reason, the fact that Mystics do rank pretty mid-tier in points and assists, we do actually like the over for someone like Gabby Williams, but however in the points and assist department. Since they do rank a little bit better in that rebounds, I probably would stay away from that due to the fact that, you know, obviously Mystics do rank a little bit better, but we are expecting someone like Gabby who does have a very good usage rate in both of those departments to be able to take advantage of this and go on the over there. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over. Now looking at someone like Gabby Williams over the last 5 games, we did see on the 14th faced off against Atlanta Dream, had an 85-75 loss with 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists there. Then on the 16th faced off against Atlanta, had an 80-78 win with 11 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists in that matchup. Then on the 18th faced off against Phoenix Mercury, had an 85-82 loss with 13 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists there. Then on the 20th, faced off against Chicago Sky, had a 94-88 win with 9 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. And then on the 23rd, faced off against Dallas, had 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist there. So it is pretty interesting to see. Obviously, looking at someone like Gabby Williams, we do very much, you know, like this situation, as we do very much like the over for someone like Gabby, but like I mentioned, for the points and assist department. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I see a lot of value there to go on the over, especially if the line is under her averages.